Hey friends, welcome to your spring art class for the week of March 15th. I'm so excited to work with you. I realize that some of my students will not have art class this week because of parent-teacher conferences, so that makes this an optional assignment. That means that it's not an assignment for a grade, but if you would like to participate, you can, and I would love to see what you create on Seesaw. We are going to start class today with a little roller coaster ride. Have you ever been on a roller coaster ride before? What about a cool ride maybe at the fair or at Cliff's Amusement Park? Other places? There are lots of super cool amusement parks all over the world, and artists have to design a lot of the cool stuff with the engineers to help everything to work and look cool. We are going to be designing our own amusement parks today. In order to get inspired to create our theme parks, I would like to look at some pictures from around the world as well as some cool artwork that artists have created. Now, I've had a lot of students asking me, hey, Mrs. Cram, when are we going to use these glue sticks you gave us? What was the point of giving these to us? Well, here's your answer. We will be using them today. If you didn't get a glue stick or paper or scissors in your supplies, don't worry. There will still be a way you can do this assignment without it. There are a few different ways you can do our art project today. So if you have zero art supplies, you have nothing to draw with, no paper, of course you can use Seesaw. So talk to me, help me to walk you through how to draw something on Seesaw. There's some really cool tricks you can use. And I'll record a quick video of how you could potentially design your theme park in Seesaw. Another way is if you don't have any scissors or glue, you can just draw a picture. Design what it would look like. What kind of plants are there? Would there be animals? I don't know. It's your theme park. You get to design it. Now, if you do have art materials, this is what we're going to use, all right? We're going to use a glue stick, scissors. If you don't have scissors, it'll still work, and some paper. Now, I have a ton of artwork that I'm not going to use because I have so many classes. I do about 30 different art pieces every week with you guys. So I'm going to be using this so I don't waste it, and I'm going to be cutting up this paper. Now, if you have cool colored paper, you can use that, or you can use your art material to scribble all over a piece of paper to make it really colorful and use that. Now that I have my paper flat on my table, I'm going to take whatever colorful piece of paper I made, whether it's something I scribbled on or just something that I have, and I'm going to cut a strip. I'm just going to slowly cut my scissors, taking my time, going from one side to another, so I have a strip of paper. Now, if you don't have scissors, you can just go in and tear it like this. Just be careful and go slow, because if you tear the whole thing really fast, it'll just be crazy. But if you slow down and pinch both sides with your fingers as you tear, you can actually get a pretty decent line. Like that. All right. So we're going to be making our roller coaster look three-dimensional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about where I want to place my paper, and I want it to look three-dimensional. So if I push it up, so there's a loop, I can have a little hill that my roller coaster will go over, right? So I think in order to do this, I'm going to glue one side and then the other. Now, with my glue stick, I'm going to go in and cover one end of my paper with glue. And then I'm just going to stick it down and hold it. And I want you to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make sure you hold it for 10 seconds. That way it really sticks. Now, I'm going to make a loop. And I'm going to place the other side where I want it to go. So this will be my first hill of my roller coaster. So I'll put a little bit of glue on this side. And I'll do the same time. I'm going to speed up this part of the video because I don't think you want to listen to me count to 10 a bunch of times. I'm going to wrap this around my finger so that it gets curly. Oop, and I tore part of it off. That's okay. All right, so see how it's all curly now since I wrapped it around my finger? I can now tape or glue part of it to one side of my roller coaster. And then when I twist it, and then if you decide you don't like something, you can always just untape it. Just be careful not to tear it when you do. Just remember, every time you glue down, hold your end for 10 seconds before you try to do another part. If you want it to look like there's a big point, what you can do is you can fold your strip of paper in half. Whoop, and I tore mine. I think I'll use a different one. You can fold it in half. And then it has a point, right? So you can also have part of your roller coaster look like it goes straight up and straight back down. You can also experiment with different ways of cutting your paper. So just remember, when you're cutting, I want you to open up your scissors all the way. Make sure your thumb is in the little part and your fingers are in the big part. You can practice opening and closing a few times if you want. Now when you cut your paper, don't cut it like this with the little tips of your scissors. That's going to stress you out. Your muscles are going to get sore. Not going to work. But what I want you to do is open them all the way, put the paper all the way in your scissors, and then start cutting. Now, instead of turning your scissors like this, which makes it really hard to cut, turn your paper instead. So as you cut, turn your paper. And you can create some really cool different shapes by cutting your paper. So I think I like this one. I think I'll do a crazy line by turning my paper. This one's cool. Another cool thing you can do is you can pretend you're trying to cut like a circle or an oval by turning your paper. But instead of just leaving it that way, start cutting again and then turn it as you cut it. And every time you cut it, it gets a little bit smaller. Be careful not to cut the other side. And now I have a spiral. And so you can get the spiral to stick up by bending it. And then that could be another part of your amusement park. It could be a different ride. I'm going to show you guys one more thing. Now, if you want to create a building that looks like it has squares instead of all the curves like we've had on our roller coaster, what you're going to do is pinch your paper. So there's a little fold. All right, so I have a fold here. I'm going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to fold it in the other way. So I'll pinch it. So now it almost looks like a little house, right? Now, I still have to be able to glue this down, so I'm going to make two little feet. So on one side, I'll fold it up. There's like a little foot. And on the other side, I'll do the same thing. Fold it up, so I have a little foot. Now, one side's a little longer, so my building might be a little crooked, but you can play with it and move the folds so that it's more like this. So now I have a side to glue it on each side. So if you decide you want to add buildings to your picture, you can do that too. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing. If you take a piece of paper and wrap it around your finger, we already kind of did this to create a spiral, but it kind of trains the paper to do that thing, right? So now I think I'm going to make my little roller coaster. So I'm going to take my glue, or tape if you have it, glue one end of it. See how I'm gluing one end? And then I'm going to take this side, cover it up. It's almost like I'm making a ring. It's kind of cool. I can put it over my finger if I want to. I'm squeezing it so it stays. Now once I've squeezed it, I'm going to take my little roller coaster. If you guys want, you can add little wheels to it, but I can put it on part of my roller coaster. So I think I'm going to put it over here like they're about to go over. You can even draw little people on it. It is up to you. All right, if you're using Seesaw, just like usual, go into activities where this little light bulb is. And then for our assignment for this week, click add a response. You can see that's last week's assignment. Don't worry about that. So once you reach this part, this week you can do the drawing part. Now, just like before, figure out what kind of background you want to use by clicking the three dots. Click background. And then you can pick what you want. I think I'm going to do something kind of like this. Maybe I'll do like a sunset. That'll be cool. And then my dream theme park, let's see, maybe on a beach. So I think I'm going to make my tool nice and big. And let's see what I come up with. Whether you're doing something 3D, a drawing on paper, or a drawing on Seesaw, here's your objectives. Number 1, I can design my own theme park or roller coaster and include at least 10 of my own details. Number 2, I can use the art materials I have to make my work look completed. That means if you're drawing, you color the entire page, or you just add a ton of details to your 3D model. En español, número 1. Yo puedo diseñar mi propio parque de diversiones o montaña rusa y incluir al menos 10 detalles. Número 2. Yo puedo usar los materiales de arte que tengo para que mi trabajo parezca terminado. Now, when you guys are turning these in, what I want you to do is I want you to take at least one picture that's just still, but I'd love to see it from different angles. So if you want to add another slide, you just press add slide. Then you can take a video and I can see your amusement park from all different angles, and then you can tell me about it, and you can tell me what kind of roller coaster it is. Are there like sharks? Is there water? I don't know. I'm really excited to hear about them now.